Hello, my name is Landon, and today we're going to talk about the racial unemployment gap. This video is specifically tailored for job employers, future entrepreneurs, and really anybody who just wants to learn about the topic. So please pay attention. Let's start off simply with, well, what is it? In short, the racial unemployment gap is a noticeably large difference in the unemployment rates of different races. Let me expand on this. According to a 2022 report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the overall unemployment rate of the United States stood at 3.6%, which is actually a little higher today at 4%. On the surface, you might assume that the unemployment rates of all the races are pretty consistent, right? Well, if that was the case, I wouldn't be making this video. When you take a look at the unemployment rates for each race individually, it actually looks like this. This is a graph from 2022, which doesn't look a lot different today. A few noticeable things to observe. White people, who are considered the majority as of today, have an unemployment rate of about 3.2%. With the exception of Asian Americans, every other race has a significantly higher unemployment rate. African Americans stand at a whopping 6.1%. Hispanics or Latinos stand at 4.3%. People who identify as multiracial have an unemployment rate of 5.5%. This is the basic rundown of the racial unemployment gap. Now, let's move on to the causes of the racial unemployment gap. One of those are educational inequalities. Having a college degree can be a very important tool when applying for jobs. However, history has shown that minority racial groups have less of an equal opportunity to receive a quality education. According to UNCF, African American students are often located in schools with less qualified teachers. On top of this, schools with a high number of students of color typically have less resources available to them than schools with mainly white students. In addition, students of color have a higher chance of being suspended, leaving them without education for long periods of time. Therefore, educational inequalities can contribute to the racial unemployment gap. On top of this, there are racial disparities in our criminal justice system. In general, people with a criminal record tend to have a harder time finding a job than those that have clean records. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, about 1.9 million people have been incarcerated in the United States. This would already drastically contribute to the unemployment rate. However, the issue goes even deeper. According to a 2018 article on Vera, 35% of black men are incarcerated, despite only making up 13% of the total population. People of color are far more likely to be incarcerated than white people. 1 in 3 black men, 1 in 6 Latino men, compared to 1 out of 17 white men. Clearly, our criminal justice system has a hidden racial aspect, which would naturally increase the unemployment rates for people of color more than white people. In addition, there is discrimination in the hiring process. According to the National Fund for Workplace Solutions, those who apply with distinctively black names are about 10% less likely to be contacted by employers. In addition, some of the most profitable companies in the United States tend to avoid hiring people of color, keeping them out of high-paying jobs. Instead, people belonging to minority groups are more likely to take lower-paying jobs. Even in the direct hiring process, people of color are discriminated against, further increasing that unemployment gap. Now, why does this all matter? If you are not considered white, this discrepancy could be negatively affecting your chance at getting employed, whether you realize it or not. In the future, the minority population in the United States is projected to surpass the white population. According to an article by Brookings.edu, this is projected to happen by around 2045. This means that even though minority groups would make up a majority of the US population, they would still consistently have higher unemployment rates. Finally, this is a country that preaches equality and freedom. Looking at this gap, it's very clear that we are far from equal. Although everyone may have the right to be employed, not everyone has an equal opportunity. And if we are going to stand by what we say, then this country has a lot of work to do. To the target audience I mentioned at the beginning, to current job employers, some of you, not all, might be contributing to this issue consciously or unconsciously. If you are one of those people, I implore you to reevaluate your recruitment process and mindset. The color of their skin or where they come from should not be the reason you don't hire someone. To future entrepreneurs, if you are deciding whether or not to start a business, I encourage you to go for it. If your business grows big enough, that means more job opportunities will open up, lowering the overall unemployment rate. And remember to never discriminate in your recruitment process. And to anybody that I have just informed, I have given you the information. What you do with that information is none of my concern. Although I have expressed my opinions on the matter, it does not mean that you have to agree with everything that I said. You are allowed to believe in what you want to believe. That is the end of my video. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned something new. If you are curious, the links to all the sources that I've mentioned in the video are in the description below, so check them out. If you want to double check the information that I just gave you. And thank you again.